squeeze you politically when you got the coalition on one side, the Greens on the other, and we're so close to the election that it sort of says to people that that the government's impotent, you can't get your agenda through?
Well, it makes the political choice very clear, doesn't it? If you want to see more homes being built, vote Labor. If you want to see housing affordability actually delivered, not just talked about, vote Labor. It's only the Labor Party that's actually pushing through schemes that will make a difference where the government, and we've been frustrated at every corner by a coalition of the Liberals and Greens who see their path to political advantage by having ordinary Australians fail. The more acute housing pressure is, the more social media memes they can pump out, the more complaints they can make.
Well, this is acute though, isn't it?
Well,
so politically it's hurting you. You look at the AFR poll today and Peter Dutton's within striking distance of forming, if those numbers were reflected on election day, he'd be within striking distance of a minority government himself.
Well, I've never wanted to comment on political polls in TV interviews and never will. But I would say this about that. It does throw the choice that voters will have at the election in the first half of next year, makes it very stark, doesn't it? The most extreme leader of the Liberal Party in Australian political history is potentially a future Prime Minister of Australia. We never take elections for granted, never should. We'll fight very hard in the lead up to this election. We've got a strong track record of delivering on the now politics in terms of the cost of living issues and the long-term issues like making more progress on housing, future made in Australia. We are working hard to be a good government. We are not campaigning for an election now. We are focused on delivery and implementation. But the choice will be very clear.
You're saying he's the most extreme.
Yeah.
But it seems voters disagree with you. His approval rating's been...
Well, these are polls. That's fine. You can find other people like your previous panel who'll have lots to say about polls in the here and now. I'm only focused on what the government is doing here to implement good policy change in the national interest. We saw what the Morrison show was like last time around. And Peter Dutton was such an extreme choice last time around that he fought for the leadership of the Liberal Party, that the Liberals voted for Scott Morrison. Now he's the last man standing and he is the most extreme right-wing leader that the Liberal Party has ever had.
Labor said that about Tony Abbott and didn't work very well against him.
Well, Tony Abbott doesn't look very extreme when you put him alongside Peter Dutton, does he? He is clearly, in Australian political terms, the most extreme political leader of a major political party that we've ever had.
But you were saying, I mean, not you, but Labor was saying the same thing when Tony Abbott was opposition leader and he thumped it in.
It was a pretty bad outcome for Australia, though. He made all... Think about what the Liberals are saying now about... Once exposed that they have $315 billion or $100 billion in cuts, depending on which one of them you talk to, they say, well, there'll be no cuts to Medicare, no cuts to the ABC, no cuts to essential services, no cuts to pensions. What did Tony Abbott do 5 minutes after he was elected? All of those things happen because they're all about cuts. They don't understand the pressures that there are on ordinary families, and I think that their complete lack of policy detail should lead Australians to be very suspicious indeed.